What's going on, Bolt fam? Welcome to another post-game recap. Obviously, just had a really good game. Chargers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another primetime game. You kind of shouted it out, Dylan. You talked about, how Herbo undefeated in primetime, man, and it's so funny too because he's touched on every single primetime day this year so far. So Thursday, Friday. Well, actually, not everyone, because obviously we have some Saturdays coming up with the holidays,
Right.
because there'll be some primetime games on those holiday days. But Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday, he's 4-0. So no, man, great win, 25-10 at home. I'm gonna pass it over to you, man. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of different great kind of accomplishments and accolades, accomplished that night. On top of obviously going 7-3, so
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff to talk about, man.
Yeah. Big ones going 7-3, just increasing those playoff odds. We moved to number five seed now after the Bills loss. So we're the top wild card seed, right behind keeping pace with Denver, who's going up against KC next week. So a lot of things that are like great for us coming off that win. And more importantly, just the way we looked in that win. Coming out and really dominated that game. 25-10 really doesn't do it justice. It was a lot worse than that. We gave up the easiest touchdown at the end, garbage time TD. So it was really 25-3. And
Mhm.
and like I said, probably even more dominant than what 25-3 sounds like because the second half, we were just all over them. We punished them on the ground. We didn't let them do anything offensively. We made Aaron Rodgers have his worst game in 5 years statistically, and it looked that the way too. I mean, didn't ever let him connect with DK. Just so many positives to get into off over that game, and just an incredible job. 4-0 on primetime now for the Chargers and for Justin Herbert. Like I said, I think he might be the first one to win 4 games in the primetime slot, Friday, Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. And then you mentioned it. I was going to say that if we get put into that Saturday night window, watch out whoever we play because it might be bad for y'all.
No, seriously, man. Like I said, man, the guys he's showing, man. The bright lights are not too much for him, and even with the banged up, supporting cast. I mean, the O line. I mean, you played against the Steelers defensive line that's really good, man. From the interior to the outside, man. Those edges are ferocious, and it showed. I mean, he was sacked 5 times, but one thing that Herbert he never. And I said this a couple pods ago. He just never seems phased. It's like, all right, I got sacked. I mean, let's
Yeah.
get it. Y'all want to come full force. All right, bet. I got something for y'all, and that's literally what it was. I mean. And one thing that I know we were texting during the game, man, was the officiating this year. They got to do something, man. I mean, 2 plays. One of them, the analyst was trying to say, "Oh, he hit him up high, and then he kind of slid down." It didn't look like that to me. It looked like literally first contact was knee level. I
Yeah.
didn't see anything like chest or torso,
It was
stomach,
all lower body.
all lower body. So I'm like, what are you talking about? So that's a low illegal hit. And then the hip drop tackle, oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Like that was an egregious hip drop tackle too, because it wasn't sometimes you get the hip drop where the guy he'll tackle him and he drops his legs and he's actually like on the ground and like pulls the offensive player down.
Yeah.
This guy hip dropped and landed on Herbo. Like that was crazy.
And hurt his
Um,
ankle.
Literally. So yeah, it just call something. I mean, I mean, I bet 99% you're gonna see a fine. There's gonna be a fine that comes from it. They always do that to kind of rectify, which I think is kind of lame because the league, the fine goes to the league.
Yeah.
Like, why is the fine going to the league? Getting off on a tangent here, but no, like I said, getting back to the win, huge time win. Love what Herbo was able to kind of do. I mean, 220 yards passing, 1 touchdown, real clean game. He did have some more pass deflections, which we know that's. I think why it happens to Herbo a lot though. I think I think these teams just know and players just know, and I think they scheme for it. It's not the fact that I don't think it's really his throwing motion. I think it's more so like, hey, we know we're not going to get to him.
Yeah.
And I think that like sometimes even if they feel like they can maybe pressure or move a little bit more, I think they're just like, you know what, let's just try to get in that passing window. Because I think the way Herbo, I mean, not a throwing motion, but he does put a lot of things he throws lasers. So it's
Yeah.
not a lot of like loft to his passes. And I think that's maybe why there's a lot of deflections there. But
Yeah.
regardless, I thought he played a pretty clean game. Like I said, pass rush was on him all night, but he stood in the pocket, he made plays, and even after he hurt his ankle, he still was out there kind of scrambling, doing some things. So I just thought a pretty good game all around from him. Russian looked really good against a team that I didn't think that we'd be able to run that well against.
Right.
But I think that they would maybe just really just pinning their ears back, trying to get in those pass rush lanes. And even when we started running, they're still maybe in pass rush mode. I don't know, but we
Yeah.
ran pretty well. I mean, Kamani Vidal's box score doesn't do it justice because it was 25 rushes for 95 yards. Towards the end of the game, I mean, he had what, seven, maybe six, seven carries that went for like a yard, maybe 2 yards, because we're just trying to kill clock. He
Yeah.
had a really good game, and the touchdown, I thought Kamani had a really good game.
He was impressive. That touchdown sealed off a nice game for him. Um, you know, talking about that line and how they were coming after us and that allowed us to run a little bit. To this game, Herbert's average time to throw was 2.25 seconds. And it felt like he needed to get it out even quicker than that. Like his internal clock was like two. If he was past two, he's like, I got to get it out of here.
Mhm.
And even with 2.25 second time of to throw, he was still pressured 42.5% of his dropbacks. So imagine that, like, we're not even at 2.5 seconds. I mean, everybody out there watching this, count to two right now. Someone's in front of your face. You know what I mean? So, like, all the other quarterbacks that were close to that type of average time to throw, their pressure rate was way lower. There's only been five other occasions that this season, and nobody's been higher than in the 20s for the percentage rise. But all in all, I think their game plan was to come after us, and they were not gonna let Herbert get there. I think in totality, it really wasn't that bad of a performance from the O line. I mean, Herbert really never got crushed. He got hit a few times. It's still happening, but like to be honest, that was going to be expected against that D line. Maybe even if we have alt there because of the other guys, we don't have five alts. We have one alt. You know what I mean? So um, you got to expect the pressure, and that was their game plan because their secondary cannot hang. So the only way to make their secondary be able to stick around with guys is to get that average time to throw lower so that the routes can't develop deeper down the field. And so you saw that. And then one of the few times we had time, Lad cooks dude and gets an easy touchdown. One of the other times Herbert fits a dot in there, and that's more of a downfield throw. He was able to throw one, more than 10 yards down the field, and then he sticks it right on there and Lad takes off and runs. So I would have loved to see more attempts downfield. This was one of the few games that Herbert really didn't get the chance to do that, but that was just all because of time to throw. So I think we see a lot more chances against the Jags this upcoming game. But I just want to say overall, what a statement win. So many people the last couple days have been saying we out-Steelered the Steelers, and I disagree. I think we just played Chargers football, and we were just a more physical team that night, and we played a better football game than they did. I don't think that gives us enough credit what we did to say we out-Steelered the Steelers. That goes back on like Steelers lore, like people are thinking the Steelers are some team from mid 2000s with Harrison and Palomalo. This isn't the same Steelers. Like we didn't out Steeler nobody. We out chargered them, and we played Chargers football on prime time, and you saw what happened. Hardball football.
Hardball football for sure, man. That's the thing that you point to. Maybe you can use that mantra of saying we outsteeled them if it was like a Brandon Staley led team or maybe a different coach. But this is what Harbaugh wants: physicality in the trenches, offense and defense. Run the football, impose your will. Like we didn't, like you said, we didn't outsteal nobody. We chargered them.
Yeah.
Like that was literally Harbaugh's game plan. Like if he could draw up a game from start to finish, he's gonna say, well, I'm gonna want to run the ball a lot. I'm going to want to have success running the ball. I'm going to let my quarterback throw it when we feel like we need to, but I'm not going to have him just go crazy and sling it all over the yard, which this game he didn't even have time to do that. But
Yeah.
like you said, this is 100% a Harbaugh win. Like it really is. I want to talk about the defense because I mean that was one thing that we spoke about, and I was just like, man, I think for us to be able to win this game, and I mean, we put up 25 points, so like we scored the ball really well. Um, but I thought for us to win this game, defense was going to have to be on another level. Now we've been playing well over the last couple of weeks. We gave up 10 points to the Vikings, 20 points, which really was like 6 points to the Titans,
Yeah.
because they had the pick six, they had a kick return touchdown, and then obviously 10 points again to the Steelers. So over the last 3 weeks, I mean, if you're looking at like offensively scoring, we're averaging under 10 points a game given up to these teams. So the defense is just on a tear right now, and I just all cylinders, man. I think ever since we got Odafe Owe, and obviously we had that kind of drawback game with the Colts, but ever since Odafe Owe came, we've been getting healthy, and you
Yep.
just been seeing guys take that next leap. I love seeing Nico Reed out there and seeing him making plays. Like I don't just because the guy's out there doesn't. Oh, I love seeing. No, I want to see the guy making plays. And we spoke about it. He's doing some things that you don't see from rookies. Following, trailing a guy, getting down the field, getting his head around last minute. You don't see that a lot of times. You see a lot of guys. they just run directly into that offensive player, and guess what? You get an OP, defensive pass interference. So seeing things like that, RJ Mickens making plays,
Yeah,
it's just sound football all over, and I think that this defense, I mean, with Minner, I mean, I don't think there's any team that I'm worried about like offensively. I don't care who it is. You see
right.
how well the D line is playing. You see Deshaun Hand wrecking stuff. Love seeing him back because he's just
Yeah,
so physical.
beast.
And I think he led us in pressures against in this game. I think he had four. But like he's just playing tremendously well, and obviously he just came back off of IR, so he was a big boost to getting back. Jamari Caldwell, he's a
All
tank.
those. Oof.
It's just so many names, and it's not even just the names, it's the production and seeing what these guys are doing on film that really just make me excited because they're not being talked about,
Yeah,
which I love. Don't talk about them. That's fine.
yeah,
These guys are making a big time impact. And TR Tart went out. Like he got hurt. So it's like you see what our D line was able to do without TR Tart, who's been our best interior defensive lineman. So I mean, I'm just can't say enough about that defense. Jesse Minter got those guys playing at a high level, and it looks real good, man. Whenever Herbert has the ability to play football with a defense that's holding other teams real low scoring, he's winning those games.
absolutely. I'm with you. And that segues perfectly into something we do on these post-game recaps, our supercharger of the week. I'm giving it to Jesse Minter. Doesn't have to be someone that's suited up. I'm giving it to Jesse Minter. And if you look in totality, the last 3 weeks, we're the number one defense in the NFL in a lot of categories. So one of the categories was, I believe, is the points allowed, like you said, currently. Total yards, 197 over the last 3 games. That's average. Third down percentage, 19.4, first in the league.
Hmm.
Points allowed, offensive. Okay, so you got to take away those Tennessee points. 8.7 offensive points allowed in the last 3 games, and 12 total sacks, second in the league. And I mean, look at the sacks part. You mentioned Oweh getting there, and now we have guys healthy. That's something that we were asking a lot for in the beginning of the year. That pass rush, where is it? The weeks prior to that, 5, 6, 7. So 6 weeks ago, those first 3 weeks compared to the last 3 weeks, we were 32 in the league in defensive EPA. Now these last three, first in the league. So is the defense back? That was one of the questions I wrote at the end of the game. One of the first things that popped up when I did some post-game notes, so I'd have something for the show. And I say yes. I think all this stuff can translate. You mentioned those guys on that D line. Another game, Justin Nbobi, just been balling lately. Like
Balling.
he's been out there making plays. I saw him dominate somebody on the D line. One play in specific, just stopping the run has been such a focus because I think they know if they don't run on us, our pass defense is really strong. Okay, our pass defense is compromised when we have to bring extra guys into the box and worry about that a little bit more than if we know we're stuffing the run with our normal four-man front. And then we can do our thing in the back end and match routes with our zones and Dante Jackson another. And we could go down the line of all these guys on defense. Dante Jackson gets a pick against the team we just signed him from.
Yep.
Elijah Molden looking better and better each week, making open field tackles routinely on the outsides to make a outside run a 3 yard gain instead of an 8 yard gain, 10
Yep.
yard gain because those missed tackles, one missed tackle turns into that first down. And
Hmm.
so I just think all around that defense did so well. Um, you know, before that garbage time TD, we were going on 9 quarters of no touchdowns allowed by an offense. So I was hoping and praying we finished with 3 points because I wanted to have that stat to say, but that's still 8 quarters of no offensive touchdowns allowed is doesn't matter if it's the Titans, doesn't matter if it's the Steelers, doesn't matter who it's against. Like that's impressive football being played. Um, we had 156 yards allowed through 3.5 quarters of football before the garbage time touchdown. 156 yards in a primetime football game. Like we showed up and we showed out. You know, so all the stats that I'm running through are just super impressive from a defense, and so I'm giving that to Jesse Minter because I think after that Colts game, I think everybody had to look in the mirror because that Colts game was bad. They scored on us every single drive easily with no resistance, and so I think we had to look in the mirror, and guys like Khalil Mack had to call people out and step up and be leaders, and Derwin and Dion and everybody's kind of filling their role, and like we've talked about, almost every name if you pop up on defense from this past week, 2 weeks, are playmakers right now.
Playmakers at a big time, man. Because like I said, I mean, I think that's one thing that you see different with this regime. Obviously, we're in year two of Harbaugh, Ortiz, Ben Herbert, all these guys that got brought in, Jesse Minter. but you look at I feel like there's a plan. Like I feel like there's a plan for guys. I mean, even in the big one that I'm gonna talk about is who you said, Justin Ebogbe. We
Yeah.
drafted him in the fourth round. Drafted him in the fourth round last year. So we grabbed Alt, we got McConkey, we grabbed Junior Colson, then we went to Boygby. This guy didn't touch the field last year.
Yep.
So when you look at that, I'm like, okay, like did they just whiff on a pick? But like no, because they said like, hey, he's kind of a tweener right now, and we want to get him to get some weight on because our interior D linemen they need to be kind of big. We want to make sure that they can stuff the run. Um, and look at what he's doing in year two. He put on the weight. They talked about that in the preseason. He added like 20, 25 pounds of like muscle. And just look at what he's doing. So this 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 team just has a plan for guys, and I just love it. I mean, you look at the Jasir Taylor trade, it's like everybody's complaining about, oh well, he's our best gunner, our best this. Well, our special teams defense actually looked pretty good against the Steelers, man. And Dean
Yeah.
Leonard was down there making some plays. So
Hmm.
I love that. And then what did it do? It also freed up some room in that secondary to be like, you know what? Well, we don't obviously, we got Dean Leonard in, but you know what? Tarheeb's out. We got Nico in. We're gonna let Nico play a little bit more
Yep.
because Ja is more of a slot than Dean. So I was like, okay, well, we get rid of Ja. Nico play a little slot for us.
Yep.
Nico played great. So it's like all those pieces coming together, man. I just love it, man. It's just such a plan for the team, and I love seeing it because I just didn't see it before with our old regime. But my supercharger,
Yeah.
I was gonna go this guy on defense, more so because I just feel like cumulatively over the past couple of weeks, I feel like he's been playing lights out. I feel like I'm gonna give it to the offense, but this is my honorable mention, Cam Hart. Cam
Okay.
Hart's been looking real good, man, and he's been going up against the number one receiver every week. Obviously, Titans they don't have a number one, so it is what it is there. But he played really well against them. But then you look at what he did against DK. DK is an imposing, and he's kind of a not a terrifying receiver, but the guy's 6'4", jacked, runs a 4.3. Like,
Ass. Yeah.
yeah, he's a receiver that a lot of corners probably don't want to match up against, especially not man to man. But I look at what he's able to do against him. The red zone coverage was tremendous. Able to body him up, get his head around, deflect the pass.
Yep.
Then you look 2 weeks ago, Justin Jefferson, like he played really well against JJ. He was making a lot. He had a couple bunch of pass deflections on JJ. So he's my honorable mention because I think he's playing really, really well, and I love to see that. But my supercharger of the week goes to Kamani Vidal.
Yeah.
Um, he's just been playing too well. And I think you just look at like the journey from, you look at everything that happened. Well, everybody was clamoring for him not to make the team. Everybody wanted Rocket Sanders, and Rocket Sanders gets claimed by the by the Browns. Kamani's back on the practice squad. We got Najee, Hampton. It's like we're not worried about Kamani. We got Najee Harris. We got Omari and Hampton. Najee done for the year. All right, well, okay, we got Haskins and Omarion. We're not going to worry too much. Well, Hampton's on IR. Oh, now you got Haskins, and then Haskins and Vidal, and it's like, okay, Vidal had a pretty good week. Oh, Haskins now he's hurt.
Yeah.
It's like, man, this the attrition in the running back room is real. But who stepped up big time? Has 3 games over 100 scrimmage yards already out of the 5 games he's played. Like he's looked really well, and in pass
Yep.
protection, he's looking tremendous in pass protection too, which was something he struggled with last year. So that's my supercharger of the week, man. I think he's just been playing so well for us lately, and I think it just allows us to be able to continue to play the way we want to. Because without that run game, we can't play the way we want to. There's no way.
Yeah, he's been holding the fort for that run game. We have a couple other like undrafted free agents and practice squad guys that we've been bringing in just, to give a spell carry to. But he's been the workhorse since, him and Haskins that first game. And even that game, he was doing all the heavy workload and Haskins coming for some pass block reps. But yeah, no, very much deserving. Very good performance from him on Sunday night. And, we needed someone to hold it down because we can't just abandon the run totally. So, very impressed with 30 and hopefully to see it continue this next week. And then we'll see where we go from here. It'll be nice to have him in the mix still when if we get 8 back here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be real nice, man. Like I said, we got the Jags on the docket coming up on Sunday. But yeah, man, not gonna look too far ahead. But like I said, that's a team that's right in front of us, and we got a big opportunity here to go 8-3,
Yeah.
going into our bye, and that would be huge considering that back end of the schedule after our bye. It gets a lot more difficult. But like I said, a real good opportunity for us to just keep stacking things, and they got some issues over there too. I mean, there's not really a team in the league that is not dealing with injuries. So
No.
um, now I'm not gonna say they're dealing with injuries to the extent that we are, but everybody has their injuries.
Yeah.
Just a little disclaimer there. But Yeah, man. So now, like I said, great win, 25-10, handled business, or better yet, TCB took care of business.
B.
Um, and yeah, we're rolling, man. One a half game back from the division. Just a little side note, would have loved to see the Raiders beat the Broncos the other night, man. They lost 7-10. I mean, that was just a
Yeah.
pitiful game. Um, would have loved to see the Raiders get that win there because then that would have put us back in first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Big week, big week.
Yeah.
Not just us, but a lot of implications and a lot of games coming up. So
For
super
sure.
excited, man. Anything else you got for us before we take it out of here?
Nah, look, week 11 is going to be a fun one. Looking forward to that. My final thought on week 10 is like, TCB, but I think it might have been a different acronym, more of a B2A game, a little belt to ass this week for them boys. Hold on, move that hand. So, I thought that was a good week for us and, just it's fun to see us win like that. And we went this whole pile. We'd be doing it to service. We didn't say shout out to Keenan Allen, breaking the Chargers record, all-time leader in receptions now. And that's huge, man. That's thinking about these guys that we've had in our franchise, and we're both of the same age in that same era we saw Gates' whole career, and then you see a guy like Keenan come along, and he had Rivers and Herbert to throw to him. Just shout out to him. Shout out to Slayer. I know you love Slayer, so I'll let you say something on that before we close out of here.
Yeah, man, that's the guy, man. Third and Keenan, man. It's not a lot of guys that I'm taking in my receiver room over him, man. I've clamored for him over the years. People always, he's not that good yet, but look at the production, man. You can't tell me a guy's not good when you look at their production. Fastest receiver ever to 1,000 catches. He's got 400 catches from two different quarterbacks. Chargers all-time leading reception. Like the numbers, yo, what Jay-Z said it. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. They
Yep.
just don't. And Keenan Allen, he's that guy. So congrats, Slay.
Future Hall of Famer in my book, so we'd love to see him there, and then hopefully we can do something this year to help strengthen his case. So we're out of here this week. Stay tuned for that Week 11 preview coming up later on in this week. But until then, you know what it is. Bolt up.